Good morning, everybody. Mike Vacchi, Princetontrader.com, here with your Wednesday morning pre-market webcast. Okay, first thing we're looking at is the daily chart. You can see it's just a continuation of what we talked about yesterday. Bollinger Bands are getting tighter. You've got the mid band here that we've been fighting over. 9-day simple moving average coming up on top. Now, technically, yesterday we closed below the mid band. You can see that here. It's the first time that's happened in 2017. But, it's one of those things that kind of comes with an asterisk on top, because if you look at the front month band, it did not. So what the bears would need to do today is do some actual follow through, put some distance between themselves and the mid band and close below. So really the reality is we're fighting over these areas. We've got a potentially a big catalyst today at 2 o'clock with the Fed. So 2 o'clock, there's going to be a rate decision. 2:30, you're going to have the press conference. Personally, I think the press conference is more important than the actual decision. The actual decision, whatever it is what it is. But the press conference tends to move things around. So you've almost got two catalysts within an hour of each other. I talk a little bit in the written stuff this morning, and I'm going to say it now, is look, don't assume anything, okay? Don't assume price is going to do anything relative to anything that the Fed might do. Don't come in at 130 and say, well, we're going higher. Really? Why? Because you're an economist? We're traders. We trade price. We respect risk. Okay? So, I can only tell you what we do. We wait for the announcement. We get a reaction range. There's an upside and a downside to that. The price reacts to that range, and there are risk reward opportunities that come out of that, and those are the setups that we focus on. It's not a whole thing of we think the Fed's going to push the market higher today, we think the Fed's going to push the market lower. Don't get caught in that game, because if you get caught in that game and you're right, you'll end up being in a trade for 2 minutes, pulling it off and thinking you're great, and then you'll do it again the next time and you'll screw it up. If you're wrong, then you'll end up holding on to it for a heck of a lot longer than you would otherwise, because the entire trade is predicated on your personal opinion about what was supposed to happen. And trades that are based upon your personal opinion of what is supposed to happen, then you have this, you don't want to let go, because then you're wrong. Traders have a problem being wrong. Good traders have no problem being wrong. Yesterday was a good example of that. Yesterday was pretty sloppy. I mean, if you look at it, let's go over the 1 hour chart. We talked about it a little bit in the midday, and we talked about it in the daily wrap up. So you've got weekly pivot here. They opened up, and you can't see it here because it's a 1 hour chart, but they did two touches to 62. Bears love to screw that up. Eventually they broke through it. They went down to 54, and we've got a 54 area here. But this whole move higher, it was just a really sloppy kind of day here in between. It looks great now. And I'm still long 62.25 from yesterday. I took profits. I've got a third of it left, and I'm just going to kind of see what happens this morning. But it was a pretty sloppy day. And when you get into these sloppy days, it makes you overtrade. It makes you do a lot of things that you wouldn't do otherwise. And you mixed into that sloppy day. A lot of what made it sloppy was we were getting these cross currents from oil with news and things like that. And that's going to happen. Those headline markets are going to happen. They're just going to pop up, and you have to react to it. But don't get stubborn. Don't get stubborn. We had a beautiful little setup on a short. It had failed at the 5-minute mid-band, and we'd done about 10 or 15 minutes of resistance, and we were getting ready to go break those 54 lows. Well, in between here and there, you had one of those Saudi headlines hit, and we ripped. We went from right here down at this 56.25, right on up to 63. So what do? Do you hang on and want to be right and be this, that, and the other thing? No. You take your hit. You take your -2, take your -3, you take your -4, and then you move on to the next setup. Now, there weren't a heck of a lot of good setups after that, but we're in a pretty good one now. And it just, we had a great short before that. So don't get stubborn. As a trader, you have to be willing to be wrong. And if you're wrong, you have to exit, reset your head, reset your, reset your trading and find the next setup. Not based upon what happened in the setup before, or the setup before that, or the setup before that. The only setup that matters is the next setup, okay? So, that's not just for today or for yesterday, but that's for every day, okay? One trade at a time, and if the risk reward doesn't set up very well, don't do it. The 62 that I'm in, I really didn't think I was going to end up in another trade because I was telling everybody in the room the risk reward is just garbage because it's so whippy. You're like risking 3 to make 3. That's not a way to live. It's certainly not a way to trade. The things lined up late in the day, and we got into the trade that we're in. It's been pretty nice. But at the same time, if the market isn't giving you what you need, or if it's not meeting your parameters, don't trade. Don't trade. Just don't trade. It will come back and meet your parameters a lot sooner than you think. But you don't have to trade every inch of every tape every day. Younger traders, newer traders think that you do. That if you're not trading, you're not working. That's nonsense. There are a million other things that you can do to further your abilities as a trader without having a trade on. When you learn to be comfortable flat, you'll see strides as a trader. And that's a lot of the stuff that we talk about in the room. So everybody have a fantastic day. I will catch everybody for the midday update. Follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Princetontrader. Check us out on Facebook and join us for a free trial at www.princetontrader.com. Trade 'em well.